Doraemon has been and is a very popular series in Japan. One of the most popular things being two of their animated adaptations. The 79 series with Nobuya Yama as Doraemon, and the new 2005 series with Wasabi Misuta as Doraemon that still runs nowadays. But in many years, Doraemon has had footing and success across international regions. Today I'll talk about the history of the international distribution of the Doraemon TV series from 1981 to 1999. To start, it's important to see the Japanese version. Doraemon released as a manga in January of 1970 on Shogakukan magazines by the Fujiko Fujiya duo with different versions of the first story. Tailored to the demographic of the magazine it was published on, with the plot of Doraemon, a robot cat from the 22nd century going back in time to help his owner Sewashi by aiding his ancestor, Nobita Nobi, so Nobita can make a better future for himself and preventing bad events from happening. Nobita is a less than average lazy kid that's bad at studying sports and often bullied by his friends, and will put himself and family descendants in poverty for centuries. Doraemon will help Nobita to be able to make a better future for himself, often using futuristic gadgets from his four-dimensional pocket. The character's personality and traits will evolve in the period of time of the manga's serialization. A first animated adaptation was made in 1973 by Nippon TV, with 26 episodes each with 2 segments. The series didn't get a continuation due to the problems Nippon TV was facing. This series has become lost to the public as back then it wasn't so easy for the public to record programs. And after the release of the 79 series and now the 2005 series is in the best of the interest of the companies behind this, for this series to not be seen for being confused and impacting Doraemon's image. Interestingly, this series features earlier versions of the characters, with some different traits as well as some changes to their personalities in this adaptation. Also, for the first half of the series, Doraemon has his only Japanese male voice actor, and also features the famous character, Gachako, removing the early years of the manga since Fujiko disliked the character. A new animated adaptation of the series, being the second one to exist, started airing on April 2nd of 1979 on TV Asahi, being produced by TV Asahi and CINAR Animation with a pilot for it being made in 1978. It ran until March 18 of 2005 when the series ended, a big part of the series ending being the need of a new cast as the cast aged.
やあ、テレビの前の皆さん、僕ドラえもんです。僕のテレビ見てくれてる？こんなことができたらいいな、あんなことしてみたいなってことたくさんあるよね。僕と一緒にそんな楽しい夢の世界へ行ってみよう。お友達やパパやママにも宣伝してよね。
Shortly after the ending of the series, a new series with a new cast and style of animation produced by the same parts started airing on April 15 of 2005. Previously known as a teaser part of the Don Don Project though. The new episodes are still in production until nowadays.
Doraemon News! ドラえもんをもっと面白くするために来年からビッグなイベントドラえもんどんどんプロジェクトがスタート。詳しくは今後番組内でお知らせしていきます。お楽しみに。
The 79 series original format from its start until September of 81 was a segment of 6 minutes with a 6-second eye catch at the end, normally accompanied by the opening and the start, 2 re-airings after it, a small song after the last segment and the ending. From October of 81, the normal episodes got a new format in a 30-minute slot. 8 to 10 minutes long episodes with an eye catch and a slightly renovated design, with a more consistent animation on. Normally these were aired in a 30-minute slot with an opening, 2 new segments and the ending. For this era, a new opening with the same song was made and a new ending with a new song. This format was kept until May 18 of 84, when the first segment will still be new but the second segment will be a re-airing, with the exception of October 16 to December 25 of 87, as the show got a 15-minute long slot since new programs had an extended time. Afterwards, the broadcast will return to the previous format. This format will be keeping normal airings until the final of the series in 2005, but the opening and ending will change during the years until 95. After the ending or episode, normally a preview of the next episode will be aired, with a final image for the preview that was changed over the years. First with Doraemon and Nobita hiking, 2 Doraemon's face expressions, a big image of the back of Doraemon, a colored background, the characters on a train, the characters playing an orchestra, and the final one being the characters playing over a big tree with 4 variations. Although during 86 to 87, a reduced preview with Doraemon just writing the episode's titles on a CINAR leaving could be used under reduced time slot times. Previews normally will advertise special and movie airings. These are not aired on re-airings on Japan either. As such, to start with the international distribution, we go back to these early years to 81 to 82. First introduced on manga form on 73 in Hong Kong, later on said to be on August of 81, DBBJ will air Doraemon in Cantonese, with Doraemon as Lampo Chuen, who dubbed him for 30 years. The opening song is an arrangement of the original Doraemon no Uta with a new instrumental. The opening is made from clips of different episodes, but some of them include parts of the third opening, meaning that it was used for since this early distribution. More on that in a bit. For the ending, the dub just used the opening again. The dub kept the original music in the episodes, title cards in Japanese, and the eye catch of the episodes, originally named Ding Dong as in the manga for some reason, until June 30 of 1999, when it was changed to Doraemon to respect Fujiko's wish of a unified name. This first opening will be used until around 91, but TVBJ will dub across the years all of the 79 series episodes in distribution, as well as airing a Cantonese dub of the 2005 series nowadays. This early distribution had a lot of fascinating difference. This early distribution only consists of the 6 minutes episodes from 79 to 81 in comparison to later distributions. Episodes not included on later ones are included there, and apparently most or all of the 617 6 minutes episodes may have been included. In 82 in Italy, a dub with 109 episodes was produced and aired on RAID 2. On November of 1982 and later on local stations. The series was brought over as Doraemon, but the other main characters had name changes. Nobita was named as Guglia, Shizuka as Susie, Suneo as Sipo, and Giant as Gianji. As for the dub, the original music was kept as well as the eye catches, but the title cards were replaced by a blue background with the title in Italian. For this era of the series, there was 2 kinds of title cards. The older one used only in most of the early episodes with Doraemon walking in a green background, and a later one used until the change in 81 with Doraemon jumping on a yellow background. For another rare thing is the opening and ending, so for that let's look first at the Japanese version. The first opening for weekdays was a short version of Doraemon no Uta by Kumiko Osugi. A second opening used on weekdays later, used around episode 157, would be Boku Doraemon. A third later opening was made with a longer version of the Doraemon no Uta, with Doraemon and Nobita flying through the city and the sky. 2 endings were used during this era. both using Aoi Sora wa Pocketosa by Kumiko Osogi. The first version, used from 79 to 80, features various drawings of situations from stories over a colored background with the credits on it. A second version, used from 80 to 81, features full drawings of the characters in situations or stories, with a text box with the credits. There exist two revisions for this ending. The revised version polished and replaced some of these by redrawn versions. This yearly international distribution of the series features a textless version of the third opening and the polished version of the second ending. This early Italian dub does something different again with this. The opening has the name over the Japanese footage in a similar fashion like the title cards, and replaced the original theme song by an original theme called Il Gatto Doraemon by Oliver Onions. The ending used the mentioned footage of Aoi Sora wa Pocketosa, but the song is replaced by a localized version of Boku Doraemon, titled La Canzone di Doraemon by the I Nostri Figli Chorus. Something that can be seen in all distribution of the series across the years since the start is that the next episode preview isn't included and kept on the episodes for international distribution, which makes sense considering that episodes were normally paired within others and that most can be watched individually. Next on, some information says that there is a 81 to 82 Thai dub of the series. Sadly, I could only find a newer dub from recent years of these old episodes. Around 86 to 87 there is documentation of a very curious one, Albert and Sidney. This may be a famous one. The base material used for this dub seems to be similar to the one used on the 82 Cantonese and Italian dub and later dubs until a point in the 90s. But is the dub itself the fascinating part? This dub was distributed by CINAR, a children's entertainment company based in Quebec, and the dub was recorded in Canada. This dub not only has an original opening song and name adaptations, it also has original transition title cards, but more importantly, an original soundtrack different from the Japanese one. Albert being Doraemon and Sidney being Nobita. It's known that the dub has 50 episodes or 150 episodes in the Japanese numeration. It's rumored that CINAR produced the dub for the USA to be aired on TBS, as the channel acquired rights to air 50 episodes of Doraemon on 85 but never did. Musician Jerome Langlois from Canada only started working on the soundtrack for the show, crediting it to CINAR and Turner, which may confirm the rumors, as other CINAR series went unaired. On February of 2020, Jerome Langlois said that each episode was around 8 minutes long, with localized names like Buster, Ricky, and Lucy. The composer has in his ownership a tape with excerpts of the show containing the music and the full opening song, but maybe fear legal troubles of sharing it. However, in September of 2020, the composer uploaded footage of the tape that confirms Nobita as Sidney and Tsuneo as Ricky. It was taken down, but it has been uploaded. Sadly, that's all that is known and there is for the dub at the moment. But going far into 88, we can go back to a more international faithful dub of this early era. On November of 88, Doraemon will air on Indonesia by RCTI during its trial broadcasting. It won't show up again until December of 1990, but the show will continue here and will have new episodes in there until nowadays, airing the 2005 series since 2011. Looking at the 90s airing, the dub apparently doesn't only go further than the Italian one. While the version of the opening and ending are still the same ones as used back in 82, this time they are finally dubbed from Japanese. With the footage, there seems to have been dubbed at least until episode 491, but considering that the series was continuously aired Most episodes were probably dubbed from this era, including the ones from 79 to 81 removing later 90s distributions. It's said to be one of the first Japanese animated shows to air on Indonesia. All in all, however, the title cards were edited importantly from Japanese, so they'll have the translated titles and the 6 minutes episodes eye cuts are removed. As the dub continued, there is something important later on about the distribution, but more on that later. In '89, a first dub of Doraemon with Doraemon Dub by Sang Ling aired on Mainland China on GDTV as Ding Dang. 26 episodes are said to be shown. Later on '91, Doraemon would air as Kiki Mao with Dong Hao, Sang Lu, and Liu Chunyan air on CCTV, with 113 episodes said to be dubbed, both for Mainland China. Both dubs still kept using a text-less version of the third opening and second revised version of the ending. In both cases, they are kept in Japanese, the opening with a kind of translation of the title over the Japanese footage. The opening is complete and we can see that it goes completely red at the end, instead of slowly going to red from the sunset like the original version. The '89 dub used a static image of one of the pictures of the ending, with up-scrolling credits in Chinese. The '91 dub instead keeps the original Aoi Sora wa Poketosa footage, with credits in Chinese put over the text boxes, similar to how it was in Japanese. The '89 dub aired a combination of 2 episodes of 6 minutes, while the '91 dub aired a more common combination of 3 episodes of 6 minutes. The dubs had translated titles put over the Japanese titles. Something interesting that can be taken from the second dub is that we can see that the infamous episode 10, Lucky Gun, was included on the distribution and curiously was never removed from the distribution. But more on that another time. In the 90s, a Malay dub was made, which aired on RTM1 from 92 to 2002. The opening and ending are still the same as in previous dubs, but this time, in addition to being kept in Japanese, they are also kept completely clean. In this dub, we can still see a lot of 6 minutes episodes being included that could later on be removed from the international distribution in later years. The title cards are also left in Japanese with Doraemon saying the translated title. Doraemon continued airing in Malaysia during the years, until recent years later airing on NTV 7 from 2003 to 2019, with a new dub of the all 6 minutes episodes and dubbing on the late digital animation episodes of the 79 series, and getting to the 2005 series as well, airing until the rise of the show expiring on them, and the channel closure with a rebranding on later on. Nowadays, the dub of the 2005 series known as New Doraemon airs since 2020 on Astro Seria on the region. At some point in the 90s, around 91, TVBJ will stay airing the 8 to 10 minutes episodes from 81 to 84, so episodes after November of 81 are finally on the distribution. What differs in this early distribution that while unlike the 6 minutes episodes, most episodes will not be removed from later distributions. In this early distribution, most episodes are paired mostly in order with a corresponding episode next or close to it, in a pair of 2 for a close to 20 minutes duration, instead of the later more disorganized mix of 2 different year segments. At this point we had the episode 643, Nobita Gekidan no Kuritsumasu in this distribution. Important because in later distribution it'll be removed. The opening was kept the same as the older episodes. Around October of '92, a dub was made for Brazil by WTC Comunicações, airing on Clube da Criança in Brazil. It said that after the show went off air, it'll return a year later after it started. under the same program until disappearing and not airing again, and brought over as Doraemon a Super Gato. There is not much footage of this dub online sadly, but with what's online there's various things about it to wonder about. At first it may seem like another normal dub of the 6 minutes episodes like others at this time. There is two things to note, one very useful. Apparently the network never aired the complete opening, but from what they heard there is something interesting. It isn't the third opening like we have seen in all previous dubs. It used the first opening. More importantly, at least some of the first 8 to 10 minutes episodes after the broken chain after November of 81 are there, which may as well confirm that these episodes were slowly introduced around 91 to 93. Sadly, there isn't much footage for this to know more, but we can take a closer look at that episode's introduction and the distribution closely with the next dub.
ここまではご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りしました。
山の向こうの山から来るよ白いふさふさひげ伸ばし
Well, one that might be a lot might know. In 94, Doraemon arrived in Spain by the hand of Luk International, which still has the license rights there and they still dub new episodes until nowadays. Originally aired in Spanish and Catalan on channels like TVE, Canal Sur Andalucía and TV3. Through the following years, the show will also be dubbed in Galician, Euskera, Valencian and others, sometimes with revised translations with around 250 episodes in distribution dub until around the year 2000. Since the start we see drastic changes. First, the opening and ending have been changed. Now opening 5 is used instead of opening 3, still with Kumiko Asugi version of the theme on the original Japanese. And ending 5, Bokutachi Jikyujin. The first episodes are formed by a combination of 3 episodes of 6 minutes. But this time there have been changes to the episodes, as some episodes were removed from their distribution and so we have changed. At this time the total was changed to 180 episodes. It's difficult to say why episodes were removed, but may have to do with the previous change. 8 to 10 minutes episodes after November of 81 appear again in the distribution, in a pair of 2 of them for 2 episodes making an episode, although with a weird twist now. Now one of the segments will be from 84 while the other be from 81, then 85 and 82, then 85 and 83, and so similarly until late episode of 87. This is important because it will keep like this for later distribution with minor changes, until some point in late 87 episodes where they will pair in third order until 93. Then they go back to a mixed pairing of 88 and 93 and following years until mid 98, where episodes will be paired in sort of order again, for them to finally be paired from around the year 2000 until 2005 episodes in order on the distribution. But more detail on that when we get to the respective years. But let's go back to around the year 2000 with those original around 250 episodes. The episodes from November of 81 from episode 619 will feature a new title card. Doraemon sitting will do a somersault to face to the viewers over an orange background with white text, and this will be the one with most longevity, being used until October 3 of 92 in episode 1199. The drastic change is that we have 180 episodes of 6 minutes, mostly in order with some skips from 79 to 81. And as said, 8 to 10 minutes episodes from 81 and 83, and 84 and 85, and later on from 86 to 87. First one being the oldest year first and later second, but quickly on the later year first and older segment as second, until April of 87 where they'll be in mostly order until July of 88. In this more uniform distribution, The first episode of 8 to 10 minutes will be the combination of 618 from 81 and 764 now. For the 6 minutes episodes, since now only 540 episodes are distributed, we can see a drastic change, where some episodes that were in previous distribution are not there anymore, like 24 Kosen Sasama Gambare, 668 Noro Jitabata, 296 Mudo Mori Akegakudan Dojo, as examples. At this point, the episode 643, Nobita Gekidan no Kurisumasu from December 25th of 81, is still included in the distribution as a second segment, although not paired with episode 790, Genjitsu Video Kaki, from November 23 of 84 as the first segment, following the new pairing system for these years. The Luk distribution continued until the end of the 79 series up to the 2005 series until nowadays, but we'll cover that later. However, these changes are not trivial, as most international distribution after this one will keep these changes, with some minor differences until around 2004. It's good to mention that the series in Spanish originally had a different cast for the first 250 or so episodes in Spanish, which may be familiar to you if you have watched this on Catalan, as the cast and event translation was almost the same. In 2001, when Luk changed the studio and cast of the Spanish dub, they also redubbed the old episodes using the new cast, based on the already translated scripts with some minor changes.
¿Qué quieres que ponga? Escribe estudiar desde las 2:30 hasta las 6:30. Què vols que hi posi? Escriu estudiar des de 2:45 fins a 2:45. ¿Y qué quieres que ponga? Escribe estudiar desde las 2:30 hasta las 6:30.
Going back to the Japanese original for more context, in October 9 of 92, a new opening and ending were used. The opening is still Doraemon no Uta, but is now a newer version sung by Satoko Yamano, used originally on the 89 film Doraemon Nobita's World of Japan. The ending was Ashita mo Tomodachi until September of 95. The main change, however, is on the title card. Episode 1199 will be the last with the old title card. From episode 1200, a new title card will be used, of Doraemon using the Anywhere door to greet the spectator over a green background. The early version of it didn't have a background for the door though. It'll be added shortly after its usage, being used until June 2 of 2000 on episode 1584. On April 14 of 95, a new opening using the same song by Satoko Yamano will be used, with a new ending, the ending being Boku Doraemon 2112, a new arrangement of the original Boku Doraemon by Shunsuke Kikuchi, used originally on the short film 2112, The Birth of Doraemon, that premiered on cinemas on March of 95. These two were used until September of 2002. Without updates apart from stereo sound when the show switched to stereo audio, being replaced in November of 2002 following up the change of the show to digital animation. These two will be of importance for our subject later on. At some point later in the 90s, with a completely original opening around 92 on TV VJ, with the title cards also suffering a change, as they have the footage of an episode with a logo of the name on Cantonese. Until later on when they'll use parts of Opening 5, with mixed footage from episodes with the 80s dub of Doraemon no Uta, switching back to the Japanese title cards later in the 90s, with Opening 5 and Ending 5 until around 2001, but even more strangely kept on Japanese originally, although at some point around 97 to 98, The opening will be dubbed again and ending file will use a dubbed version of Aoisora wa Poketo-san instead of Bokutachi Ryukyujin. This of course following the dubbing of more episodes from late 80s to early and mid 90s. The change said before are seen in the distribution at this point, from the late 80s episodes through the end. The pairing will be the same as seen after 94 on the international distribution. First put on BCDs on Taiwan, since 96 a Mandarin dub of Doraemon has aired on the Chinese television system, being aired until nowadays with the 2005 series being dubbed and being the focus nowadays. Currently being one of the closer dubs to the Japanese episodes of the 2005 series at the moment. Finally, from around 99, Doraemon started airing on the Philippines on GMA, with the 79 series until around the year 2016, when Tele started airing the 2005 series. I couldn't find whether they only do the 8 to 10 minutes episodes, but music from the eye-cuts of the 6 minutes episodes were used for bumpers. With that it ends this first part from 81 to 99. Next time with information on later years episodes on the international distribution, from the years 2000 to 2010s, with an Unsolved Mystery, the special episodes, and the last years of the 79 series on Japan, with their last hooray before being phased out to rest for the new 2005 series next time.